second here. Okay. Is everybody seeing the slide on the screen? All right, more people are drifting in.
Yes.
All right, here we go. And facilitator, prepare for success. Okay, I'm ready for success. Okay, now we're ready to go. All right, more stuff. Okay. There we go. Okay, so let me skip forward. Okay, here we go, right? Today, we're learning more about your database and how it affects your real estate business. In the last session, you learned about lead generation. Is that true? You guys learned about lead generation yesterday with Mary King? All right. In this, all the leads you generate, I'm sorry, all the leads you gather must go somewhere to be stored and organized. And that somewhere is your database. Once your leads and contacts are captured in that container, your database, you can then leverage your database to cultivate relationships and generate new, repeat, and referral business. I just spent the last couple hours combing through my database, following up with people. Before we begin, let's hear about progress with the success system. So if everybody's been coming through, all right, so this is something that a lot of times gets kind of glossed over. I want to spend a moment here because I know probably no one has even mentioned this for the past month. As you go through Ignite, the 20 classes, the 20 sessions of Ignite, there's what's called the success system, which is a bunch of stuff that you're supposed to be doing between classes, calling people, adding them to your database, sending them note cards, looking at properties online or in person, right? Anybody want to talk about their progress with the success system? If anybody here knows what, if anybody here has done work with that.
I've implemented a couple of things from you guys.
Okay, you want to tell us more, Shereen?
Yeah, but I can't hear the people who are there live, so forgive me if I did the standard Shireen like cut off. One thing, I don't know if Mary said it in a producer mindset. She probably said it though at the actual Ignite yesterday. Is I know that for me, getting started is the hardest part. So I appreciated how she was like, just open your phone and count down, and start with the letter A. It's not like the people that were calling know, oh, she's calling us in alphabetical order. And even if they did, it's like, it's just something that to get us started. Because I know for me, that's the hard part,
Yep.
or set a timer or whatever. So that was the first thing. And also just keeping my database consolidated, which was in today's producer mindset, plugs all over the place. And I can't remember, there was something else that I was incentivized to do. And I think it was also yesterday. But
Wonderful. Thanks, Shireen. Anybody else want to add anything? Challenges you're currently encountering in your business as you're trying to grow and build your database?
The challenges I'm facing now is actually try to import it. So when I go to the command, they tell you to download. When you download, they take you to Excel. Go to Excel, you put in the information. After you put in the information, you save it. Then you're supposed to go back to the download. When you have a browser, you click on it, and you take it in. But mine is not allowing you to do that. So when I do that, when I try to put it back into the command, it will not take it.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge that I'm going through.
So great question. Everybody hear that? Alex was saying he's currently having a challenge importing his contacts from his phone into his command database. Here's what I will recommend to everybody. So in our office, we've got a market center check trainer. His name is Sean. And we also have Scott Leroy, who's also runs a small little company with a few people that we also have on staff. Scott Leroy in particular can help you transfer your database into command. So that's one part of command that's a little wonky, is importing your database. What I would recommend is just talk to Holland at the front desk and tell her, ask for Scott Leroy's contact information and contact him and have him help you import your database. He'll kind of do it for you. And there's no sense in learning how to do it because you're only going to be doing it once. So it's not something you need to become an expert on, since you only need to do it one time. right?
I think you have to keep on continue doing it, because when you call people, get some type of additional information, you have to put it in there.
Oh yeah, but as far as like batch importing, 100 people at a time, that you're only going to be doing one time. After that, you just do it, one at a time.
Yeah, I know how to.
Yeah.
I just don't know how. The Excel.
Right, right. And that part's a little weird and hard. So I would contact Scott Leroy and he'll help you with that. Everybody get that online on Zoom? So if you need help with your importing your database from your phone, I don't recommend trying. That's one piece of command that's a little complicated. I don't recommend trying to do that by yourself. I recommend enlisting the help of Scott Leroy. He will honestly do most of it for you. All right. So today, what are we doing today? We are talking about smart data banks. What the heck is a smart data bank? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about building your database, feeding your database, communicating with your database, and servicing your database. And then we're going to recap, right? All about the database today. Okay. By the end of this session today, you will be able to identify the key information you will need for each contact in your database. Number two, you're going to determine categories and segments for the contacts in your database. Number three, you're going to build your business by asking your sphere of influence for referrals. To start thinking about what you will learn today, let's consider what questions you might have and what about a database you'd like to know more about. You can also look back or think back to what you learned about lead generation yesterday, since you started to learn the basics of a database, right? Anybody have questions about that? What things that you hope to learn today about database? Yeah. How about this? How about, can we get one suggestion? I need one or two things you guys would like to learn about databases here in person, and one or two from online. Okay, so what do you guys want to learn about database today? What questions, what things are you hoping to learn about when it comes to databases?
Maybe they have like video on YouTube that shows you like step by step. Like that's how I was able to see, how to get it done. But you just work. There's some YouTube that shows you different things.
So one key resource, so Alex makes a great point. So part of it is what I think Alex is saying is like learning the technical side of using command, how to import contacts, how to organize them specifically to command, right? We'll cover a little bit of that, but we're also going to be talking today is more conceptually. So whether you're using command or Outlook or Follow-Up Boss or Real Geeks or Commissions Inc. or Daylight or what's the one everyone used to use and no one uses anymore? The CRM.
Oh my gosh, the old one, the
Yeah, right.
Salesforce.
What was it? No, Salesforce is one too. What was the one that for real estate that everyone used to do? Like, I can't remember now, but everyone had it 10 years ago and now nobody has it. Right. Anyway, okay. But we're going to be talking about conceptual stuff about how to use your database. Like, some of it's going to be some technical hints and some of it's going to be some more like conceptual, like just how do you use it, right? All right. Any other questions online that you'd like to learn about today in about databases? No. Oh, thank you.
I didn't know that we could import into command.
Yeah, there's a way of batch import like a whole ton of people at the same time.
Wow. Yeah.
That definitely makes it a lot easier. Okay, let's move on here. So who can complete this quote for me? Your database is your blank. Shireen, what you got?
Well, I think that my sphere is in my database, but I'll go ahead and still drop the whole SOI. Oh, good. There's Dawn.
So,
okay, I would say your database.
Yeah, Dawn, you've got your hand raised. What you got?
Your database is your gold mine.
Ooh, that's close. And I like that. And that's true, but that's not what I was looking for. So maybe it's a little too specific what I'm looking for, but here's what I was looking for. Your database is your business. Who can read this? Somebody online read this. I need some participation. By the way, all you guys online, if you can, please turn on your cameras. Like if you're in the grocery store, which I hope you're not, because I hope you're taking this seriously. But it's just great so that you guys are like all participating and amongst us. So if you can turn on your camera, there you. Oh, look at this beautiful faces. I love it. I need some more though. Where you guys? Oh, there's Camilla. See, I was missing you already, Camilla. Who else we got? Evelyn.
Camilla said something really cute. She, if you guys missed that in the chat, she said your database is your life. And it's like true because our family and everything, you know, like that's who we are as our database. I thought that was cute.
I love that. So yeah, I realized that the audio it's hard to hear people in the room, but I had to make an executive choice here. I could either have you guys be able to hear me very clearly, or use the audio from the TV, and then you'll hear all of us mediocre. So, you know, who cares about anyone but me, right? It's all about me. Now, what I'll do to make it clear, what I'll do is, you know, I'm maybe doing some talking, and then when there's a question from the audience, I'll try to repeat it, or we'll figure out a way so that way the audio will be clear. So yeah, I realize that's a limitation. That's a hybrid Zoom post 2020 limitation, but hey, it is what it is. Okay, but I digress. How about, can I get a volunteer? Someone raise your virtual hand there online, because I'm going to need a volunteer to read this.
I'll read it, Ed.
Yeah, thank you. I love it.
Okay, your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and relationship with those names is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about.
There you go. Whoops, hold on, I just clicked on something.
And sorry I didn't raise my hand. I'm on my laptop and I usually use my iPad, so I got to relearn how to use a laptop. So sorry.
All good, all good. And I'm juggling here. I got Zoom and I got this PDF open at the same time, and I've got this whole separate Zoom on the screen. All right, we're all dealing with the complexes of this. Okay. Have you ever thought that your database is your business? It's true. With no database, you have no business. And the number of names in your database and the relationships you build with the people will determine the success of your business. You'll learn today that how you feed and care for your database will turn it into a data bank from which you will able to predictably draw business. Exciting stuff, huh? I know when I was going through Ignite the first time, one thing that was pointed out to me was that your database is the only asset you have in your business. When you say you're going to retire or you're moving out of the area, there's nothing for you to sell. We don't carry an inventory. There's nothing for you to pass along other than your database. You can sell off your database. I've done it. When I moved from Charleston to Los Angeles, I sold my business. And what that meant was I sold somebody my database. You know, really it was my database and my website, and they had all the notes on all my clients. And we went through over the course of 6 months and called everybody in my database, and I transferred them all over to this group of people. But that's what I did. I sold them my database, and it was quite lucrative. And I haven't made any money from it, but you know, that was 2016, and I made some money up front. And I made some passive income from that for years after that. So that is the only asset you have that you can sell. Okay. In the previous session, lead generation, we got the first taste of what a database is and talked about a few ways to add people to your database as you move through your day. Today, we'll be going deep into how to bring you new, repeat, and referral business from your database. First, we will start with getting a look at the big picture of what a database is and why you should use one in your business. Any questions before we start? That's a dramatic pause as I wait for questions. And there are none. All right, awesome. Okay, so let me go forward here. There you go. There's a database is the container that holds the contact information for all your leads and contacts. We distinguish people differently based on the permissions we have to connect with them. Number one, leads are people who have expressed interest in a service or offering of yours from social media, other marketing, your website, or word of mouth. You haven't established a relationship, and yet you have the right to have a one-way conversation with them. That is to respond and begin to build a relationship, right? So someone clicks on a Facebook ad. They have implied permission for you to follow up with them. They've given you permission to have a one-way conversation with them. At some point, maybe you call them, maybe you text them, maybe you send them private messages or whatever, and they suddenly respond back. And next thing you know, you're on the phone and you get the rest of their contact information. Now you have two-way communication, right? And that would be contacts. Contacts are the people you have a relationship with. They know you, you know them, and you have their permission to engage in communication with them. The people who make up your sphere of influence, or SOI, are considered your contacts. These people are golden. Many top agents have very successful businesses working with their sphere of influence, and you can too. This is why we focus on sphere in our success system time. Your first task will be to fill your database with your sphere of influence. Okay, so. So you guys don't have anybody here have a participant guide? Did you guys download that, and are you guys have access to that?
Yes, I do.
So it's saying here, tell participants to turn to their lead generation and database model page in their participant guide. I believe that is page 14 in this module, module 6. So which part of the lead generation and database model represents your database? Anybody want to talk about that? So even better yet, will someone explain to me using the model where your database is represented? Lead generation, relationship management, or client and referral loop? Everybody seeing that? Let's see, so you guys can see it. Let me see if I can move this out of the way. Alex, you say something? Come on, you can speak up. What you got?
Oh, no, I was like, why my page 14 is not on page 14?
Okay, 14, right? Oh, there you go. So page 93. Thank you. So who wants to explain a little bit? Take a crack at it. Somebody
What was
This
the
is-
question again? Sorry.
Yeah.
who can explain to me, using the model on the screen, where your database is represented: lead generation, relationship management, or client and referral loop?
I can't, I mean, all of them? I
Okay.
mean, you can get leads from relationships. So like if, like, say I asked my sister, do you have a friend? And she said, yes, who wants to sell. That's a lead. And we can contact the friend and cultivate contacts and conversation with that person.
Yeah, so here's what I'll tell you is that most people, the lead capture part depends. Some people have their leads in their database and some not. So it just depends. Like, say you get a list of, say you're going to farm a neighborhood, right? We all know farming neighborhoods, and you go to title and they give you a list of people that are in that neighborhood, right? You may add them at that point to your database and say, okay, I'm going to start following up with people right straight from there. Or you may just keep it as a separate list and call them all or whatever. And then as you contact them, then you may add them to your database. Most people add them right at the point that they get the lead. So that whole list, they would import that into the database. But just know that this part up here, I don't know if everyone can see my pointer, this part in my mind is a bit ambiguous if it's in your database or not. This part, from the minute you capture their data and you put it into your database, this is your database here, including, even though they've got this down here where it says client and referral loop, this is still all occurring in your database. These are all people in your database. This part here, even though they're showing that as separate. That's my take on it. Everybody clear on that? We'll see what they say. Your database is all about relationship management. The relationships you build and develop will grow your business through new, repeat, or referral business. Your database is key to your business and does a lot for you. Number one, a database keeps you organized so you can run your business effective and efficiently, right? Number two, a database keeps a comprehensive record of communication and the relationship through systemized communication. Because when you have 10 people in your database, it's real easy to remember who said what to you. When you start getting even more than 100, at least in my opinion, when you get past 500, and when you start making 10, 20 calls a day, you're not going to remember. I don't remember what I said to people a week ago. I make, in my recruiting world, I make like 30 calls a day. Like I can't tell you who the hell I spoke with. Like on today's Tuesday, I could not tell you who I spoke with on Friday. You could tell me a name and told me I told them whatever, and I would believe you. You could say that, whatever. Anyways, you get the point. A good database helps you keep notes on what you said in the communication, which will make it so that the next time you talk to them, you get to have a far more robust conversation because you have all the notes on what you talked to them about last time. Number three, a database can, not everybody does, but Command does, can help automate other tasks. And number four, a well-maintained database holds value, well, there you go, and can be sold if you choose to retire or close the business. An organized and smart database sure beats a notepad of names or sticky notes or other non-automated system. Wouldn't you agree? Everybody on board with that? Okay. You've learned that Command is a smart database that KW makes available to you. How many people here, by show of hands, you can raise your virtual hand if you're online. How many of you have gotten into Command already? Anybody? Who's using Command? Sandra is. Alex, you've tried it out. You're just mentioning. Chris and Christy, are you guys using Command at all? No. How about online? I got Suzette, Veronica. Anybody else? Anybody else using Command? I've got Rosemary.
I have my date, Annalisa and I have our tutorial with Sean this
Oh,
week.
cool. Right on. So Shireen and Annalisa, you guys will be in soon. I love it, right? All right. So here's what I can tell you about Command. Here's what they want me to tell you about Command. Command is a database of names and contact information, like the contacts in your phone, and with a lot more information. It has a goal tracker. You enter goals for yourself for the month and year, and it will track your activities, your conversion rates, and projected income. That part's really cool. And a lot of people don't even know that it has that.
Yeah.
Command has a task manager. I mean, this is the most important part, I believe, is the task manager that's going to keep you on track. It's going to remind you of who you're supposed to talk to, what you committed to doing. If you said you were going to send somebody something, you can set yourself a reminder. So as you get bigger, it's hard to remember, who am I supposed to call today? 10 people called me yesterday. I'm not going to remember who all those 10 people are and what I'm supposed to do with them, right? Task manager takes care of all that. Command also provides a marketing suite of newsletters, postcards, and other mailers, presentations, and social media posts. It's really powerful. If you haven't checked out all the templates in there, it's really cool. And also it provides a referral network to connect with agents everywhere to give and receive referral clients and leads. Okay, Command is ever evolving too. We have a staff of programmers who are constantly getting feedback from us and improving it and adding functionality to it. This is a great time to remind you to take the on-demand series called Command Your Business or on Connect, and to refer back to our Ignite KW Answers article for step-by-step instructions for building your business in Command. By the way, Alex had mentioned something earlier. If you guys don't know, there's a great website, I'll put it here in the chat bar, called answers.kw.com. And if you have a specific question about Command, that website, the answer, what do you call it? The help articles and all that is really well written, and it's very clear with lots of diagrams and whatnot. If you're looking how to do something in particular, that's where I would go to first to figure out how it, and it's very up to date. So that's where I would go to first for information on how to use Command for a specific thing, right? In addition to those series of classes that kind of bring you up to speed on Command. Any questions on any of this stuff? All right, we're moving on. Okay, if you have a participant guide, please turn to the 4 laws of a database page in your participant guide. We're not going to cover them yet. They're going to be covered in the upcoming slides. Now you know the why of using a database. Remember, your database is your business. Your business is your database. Your database is your business. All right, let's talk about how you will make this happen. The 4 laws to help your database and business thrive are, I'll tell you guys why I'm laughing. Build a database. Number 2, feed it every day. 3, communicate with it in a systematic way. Number 4, service all the leads that come your way. Okay, so this is really famous guy up in KW, Mark Brenneman. He's like one of the top honchos within KW. And when he was teaching me this when he was teaching a class, when I was at Keller Williams in Charleston, South Carolina, a million years ago, back in 2011, there's like I don't know what you call it, a mnemonic device, right? Isn't that what it's called to remember this? There's like a little dance you do, right? So he would say, everyone, I'm not going to force you guys to do this, although it would be very cool. He would be very proud of me. He would say, pull out your imaginary hammer. Here we go. Build a database. Feed it every day. Communicate with it in a systematic way. Service every lead that comes your way, right? So build a database. Feed it every day. Communicate with it in a systematic way. Service every lead that comes your way. I know that's incredibly goofy, but oh so true, and I never forgot it. And I mean, look, it's what, 12 years later, and I'm telling it to you guys like it was yesterday. So there you go. But that's true. We're going to cover those one by one. But any ahas on what we've learned so far today? We're going to take a minute here because I've been talking for a moment. I need a sip of water anyways. So let's all take a minute. And what have we learned so far? Anybody's got an aha?
I do, Ed. I'm on command and I've got my database in there, but just listening to you and what you were saying about the number of potential leads that you get, they're in my phone and I've marked who they are, but it's too much. I know I really need to get into command. Command is dazzling, to put the dazzlingly intimidating, okay, to put it mildly. So, but even if you're computer literate, it's interesting. But I'll be in there to go ahead and make my appointment and get all my leads into command and start servicing them that way.
So you bring up a great point. So let's talk about command for a minute here. So yes, there are many parts to command and it can be very intimidating. So let me pull up my command here. I don't know if I can share it because I'm already sharing on the other screen. Anyway, I don't need to bring it up actually. Hold on. When you open up command, right? Hold on, let me close this. We don't want to. Okay. When you open up command, there's all the applets along the left side of the screen. You've got your tasks, you've got your contacts, you've got your referrals, you've got your, all those pieces, right? There's a few ways of learning command. And I recommend, if you try to sit down and learn command today, you're going to be very overwhelmed and have a tough time sleeping tonight. It's not easily done that way. So one way of doing it is figuring out which applet do you need to use first. I would recommend starting with contacts because that's your business is your database. I mean, contacts is you can survive without having cool templates to put on social media, and you can survive without an automated way of sending referrals across the country. You cannot survive very long in this business without some sort of CRM to organize your contacts. So I would start there. That's one way of doing it. Another way of learning command is there's a series of classes. So Scott Leroy teaches one every day. It's on the calendar. You could just decide I'm just going to make that part of my day where every day, I think it's at 10 o'clock a.m. 10 o'clock a.m. I'm spending a half hour with Scott Leroy on his YouTube thing with his, I don't know, it's a Zoom call or whatever it is, learning that section of command. If you want another system, there's a guy named, how's his name? 66-day command. Hold on a second. Let me find it real quick. YouTube.com. Marty Miller is his name. That's right. Marty Miller command challenge. And I'm sharing that link on the chat. But honestly, if you just go to Marty, if you go to YouTube and search for Marty Miller 66-day challenge command, what that is, it's a collection of 66 videos. It's meant that you watch one a day. You watch one a day. Within a little over 2 months, you will become an expert on all things command. And each day, it's like a 5-minute video. It's a very small, digestible amount to learn, which makes it really easy because you just learn a little bit today. You just learn one little thing today, just one little concept, and you apply it. And tomorrow you add to it. You add one more little tiny thing. It's going to take you 5 or 10 minutes to master that thing, that little tiny nugget. And now you've got 2 little things that you know really well. And you just build onto this one piece at a time. Within 66 days, you're going to be an expert at all things command. And then I'll talk to you about teaching a class here at KW South Bay. Sound good? Any other questions about databases and in general? Or I should say any ahas that we've learned so far today?
Because when you build in a list, when you build in a database, you build in contact, you communicate with them, and feeding every day, you have to build that nourish that friendship.
Yeah.
You know, that nourish that friendship to make sure, because when you go cold, when you probably call the guy, who you mean?
Yep.
When you nourish, that goes with just everyday life. You have a friend or family member, you know, if you don't keep nourishing that friendship, you will just it will go cold. So that, you know, feed it every day, that's kind of how, that's not how.
So for those of you who didn't hear, Alex was saying that his aha is feed it every day, that your database is a collection of relationships. And if you don't nurture those relationships, they'll go cold. That's brilliant. Absolutely right. Absolutely. I love that. Anybody else? Should we move on? Okay, we talked about ahas. Okay, cool. Where are we at next? So build a database. Okay, hold on, let me pull up my notes here. Blah, blah, blah. The first names to put into your database are your sphere of influence, the people you thought about in session 5 yesterday. This is your family, your friends, your coworkers, people you encounter regularly. They do not have to live in Los Angeles. Just everybody you know. The way I like to think about it is anybody you know that within a minute of talking to them, within a sentence or 2 of telling them who you are, they will know who you are. Those people should be in your database for the most part, right? Now, you may have some people, like there's some people from high school that you're like, oh my God, I hated that person. I don't want to ever speak with them again. Okay. You don't have to put those people in your database, but in general, people who know you, like there's money there. Like, why would you not want to reconnect with them, right? Okay. There is a basic set of information that you should be gathering from each person. At the most basic level, each contact in your database should have, well, their name, right? It's pretty obvious. Their contact information. This is going to be their phone, their email, and address. And number 3, their past record of doing business with you, if there is any. There are several ways to add your contacts to command for the first time. Check out our Ignite KW Answers article. What else may be good to collect on your contacts? So we've got these basic things. Everybody should have name, contact information, past business record. What else might we want to collect about our contacts?
Birthdays, email addresses.
Email addresses, that's part of contact information, but we'll take that.
Their kids' birthdays, anniversaries.
Kids' names, right? Because we always forget the kids' names. Kids' names, right? Anybody else? I'll show you something that I built in my command. Well, while it's loading up here. All right, never mind. I keep trying to open this. Yeah, so if they close the deal with you, when was their home anniversary date. When was their close of escrow? Yeah. Any other suggestions?
Things of interest.
Yes, I love that. Which, by the way, when I was on the East Coast, I used to play a lot of golf, and then I had kids and I've never played golf since. But however, back in the day, I used to play a lot of golf. And so I had a tag in my database that was called golf. And everybody who I would always find out who liked to play golf. And so like once a month, twice a month, I would get around to golf to Kiowa, this really, really nice resort, because I had a connection. And I would invite everybody who had the golf tag and be like, hey, I've got room for 3 more who wants in to play Kiowa. And that's like very lucrative. That's like a big thing in Charleston. So people would be like, oh my God, me. And I would always start inviting the people who I knew were least likely of being able to attend, right? Because that way I could keep inviting people. If the first 3 people I invite say yes, well, now I'm done, right? So anyways, I get ahead of myself here. But yeah, so, you could have something like that. Here's something else. We've talked in Ignite. I'm hoping that you guys have talked about Ford already, right? Family, occupation, recreation, dreams, right? So in Command, you can set up custom fields. And you can set up many custom fields in Command. So what I did in my command is I have a field labeled family, a field labeled occupation, a field labeled recreation, and one labeled dreams. And what I do is it's almost like a game you can play with yourself when you're making calls. If you call somebody and all 4 of those fields are empty, you want to fill at least one of those by the end of the conversation, right? So if I'm calling Dawn and Dawn and I are talking, I'm like, hey, Dawn, how's it going? Hey, it's funny. I don't know much about, you own that house on 123 Main Street. I met you at that open house last week, blah, blah, blah. Hey, so tell me, I don't know much about your family. Is your whole family live here in town? Blah, 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 whatever. If there's a way of asking that naturally, I would ask that. And I would take notes on it. Now, Dawn may say any number of things. She may say like, it could be something wonderful. Like, oh my God, it's funny you should ask. I have a kid who just got admitted to UCLA and he's going to start in September. I'm like, oh my God, that's wonderful as I'm taking notes, right? So now when I call Dawn back a month, well, first of all, if someone tells you something wonderful, like my kid is going to Stanford, or if they tell you something that's not good news, like, well, it's awkward to tell you this, but somebody just passed away, blah, blah, blah. Whether it's good news or bad news, take a note of it. And, when applicable, you might want to send them a follow-up card, mail it to them. Like, how wonderful, like, what a difference is it if I call Dawn and she tells me, oh yeah, my kid got into Stanford. I'm like, great. Have you thought about downsizing since your home's going to be empty, right? Or whatever, right? Which, by the way, is a totally legit question. It's something totally legit. But how much more powerful is I'm talking to Dawn. She tells me her kid goes to Stanford. I'm like, oh my God, that is amazing. Is it a scholarship or they just get on their grade, their merits? Like, that is amazing. How did you guys pull that off? Open that up. See if there's something there that Dawn wants to tell me about, right? And then I would write a handwritten note. I recommend sending handwritten notes all the time. Like when I was an agent, I had a goal of trying to send 5 a day. Not always possible. That's hard, I know. But if you can send 5 a day, it is gold. Why is handwritten notes? I know we're going off track here a little bit, but that's okay because it's worth it. Why is handwritten notes such a wonderful thing?
They show warmth and sincerity.
Is it easy to send off 5 note cards a day?
No.
No, it's not. And that is exactly why. And no one does it. When was the last time you got a note card in the mail saying like, oh my God, Shireen, congratulations. I'm so glad you joined our company, or whatever it is, send them a handwritten note card. People are blown away by this little act of kindness. It doesn't have like, you don't have to include a card. You don't have to include a Starbucks card. Although if you have something that you're really grateful for, that you might want to do that. But in my example here, Dawn tells me her kid's going to Stanford. I write her a note card. Now I follow up with her in a month and I'm asking her all about it. It's like, oh my God, how's your kid doing at Stanford? That's amazing. Now we're building a relationship. That is the essence of what relationship building is all about. Finding out about each other's lives, and we share and we take interest in the people around us, right? That is all about relationship building, right? And so, okay, so my point was you might want to add family, occupation, recreation, and dreams to your database. And if not, you can just type them in as notes, but I like having a whole separate thing for each one. Because that way, when I call them back, I instantly can see where are they at in their forward, you know, and I can refer back to it if I know something. And if there's nothing there, well, now I got something to ask about. And the question can be as simple as like, you know, for example, if recreation is completely blank, you're like, oh my God, Shireen, you know, it's funny. You and I have been talking for the last 3 months about selling your house. And, you know, I don't know very much about you. What do you and your husband, you know, what do you and your family like to do for fun? You know, you mentioned you have kids. What do you guys like to do? Are they baseball fans, football fans, or they play sports? You guys go to like museums? Like, what are you guys up to? You know, you can ask them, say like, I don't know much about like, what do you guys do for fun? Like whatever it is, you can be very direct about it. And just if you're sincere and you genuinely just want to learn more about them, then you do, right? All right. I know we totally went off book, but that's okay because I thought that was a good little segue. So command makes it easy to build your database. You have options. You can enter contacts manually. You can sync contacts with command from third-party systems like Google Contacts, or you can import command contacts into command using the command import template. Again, if you're going to do that, you probably want to ask for some help. We've covered that quite a bit. Okay, let's move on. Blah, blah, blah. All right. Next, we're going to talk about feeding your database. What the heck do we mean by feeding your database? So if you have a participant guide, you may want to turn to feed your database page. The second law of lead generation is to feed your database. Well, it's on the, who remembers from the previous session or by reading what's on the screen, what are the two pathways for feeding lead contacts into your database? This is an easy one. Don, you still got your hand up. It may be old, but do you want to answer that?
Okay, feed your database to me is adding everyone that you come in contact with that could possibly later on be a potential client or a potential lead that can lead you into more contacts and referral business.
I love it. As a reminder, command is not only on your laptop and on a browser, it is also an app on your phone, which means you're at a cocktail party and I'm talking to, let's see, Rosemary, and Rosemary and I are talking and she's like, oh my God, you know, it's so funny. We're not ready yet, but sometime in the next few years, we're probably going to sell our house. Oh my God, here, let me get your contact information. So that way I can start sending you all the listings that are going on your contact. And I pull out my phone and I enter her right as I'm talking to her. By the way, when I finish that conversation, I'll be like, by the way, let me just test it out right now. I'm going to send you a text to make sure I got the number down right. Right? Because sometimes they may not give you the exact right number. So if I do that, then they're like, oh my God, did I give you that number? Oh, that's right. Let me give you my current number. Yeah, that's right. Right. So yeah, you want to add people in all the time, right? All right. What does feed your database mean? The law is about adding people to your database. Just as we discussed yesterday, first you add all the people you know, your sphere of influence, and the people you encounter regularly. You add your dentists, your children's teachers, your coworkers, people you know from the neighborhood. The rest of your feed comes from what? Lead generating. In the previous session, you learned the difference between prospecting and marketing. You also explore different ways to prospect in your everyday life and through your sphere. Prospecting is actively seeking leads and building relationships through your conversations, right? Prospecting is cost effective. It is the cheapest way, folks, for lead generating. It is the cheapest way and the most. Here's what I love about prospecting from your database. It is like when I was an agent, did I prospect lots of other ways? Sure. I called expired listings. I called for sale by owners. I ran ads through social media and I did internet lead generation. I door knocked, all of that. Love it all. Yes. Do you do that? Yes. Yes, I do. And there's more, we can get into more finesse things as well. However, in the end, if I could have it my way, I would have 100% of my business come from my database, if possible. Now, it's always good to always be adding some people from different sources, but the goal is business coming from your database. Why is that? We already talked about that. It's the most cost effective. If you produce a lead from your database, it is 1,000,000 times cheaper than a lead that you bought from Zillow. I can promise you that. Okay, so it's cheaper. I gave you one. Why else might we do business from our, why else might we prefer to do business from our database?
Warm contact.
So Chris says they're warm leads. What do you mean by warm leads? You're correct, but tell me more.
A cold lead is somebody you have no connection to. You start off as strangers. Warm leads, you already have some sort of attachment or connection to that person, therefore they won't be so quick to shun you.
So not so quick to shun you, right? So we're talking about sphere of influence are warmer leads as opposed to colder leads. And Chris was saying they're not going to be as quick to shun you. So your conversion rate is going to be better with your sphere of influence, right?
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly. Overall, I would say, like over the course of many leads, you're going to have the best conversion rate without a doubt from your database. Why else? Don.
I would say it's a great place as well to get referral business.
It's easier to produce referrals because they've been talking to you for a while from your database than from door knocking, right? You door knock on somebody's house, you say, hey, how you doing? I'm hosting an open house down the street. I just wanted to tell you about it. By the way, are you guys thinking of selling anytime in the next 6 months? And they say, no. If they know for a fact that their brother who lives a block away is also going to be selling his house in 2 years and 2 months, they're not as likely as going to give you that lead as being like, oh, I'm not, but let me put you in touch with my brother. But if Dawn is somebody who I've been following up with for the last 5 years, and I call Dawn, far more likely that she's going to be like, oh, by the way, I've got my brother who lives a block away, who's thinking about selling. He mentioned it to me last night at a family dinner, right? So more likely of getting referrals. Let me tell you, in my opinion, the most important reason to move to a sphere of influence business over time. The people who I have met in my 12 years or whatever many years of doing this business, who seem to me to be the most happiest being a realtor, who enjoyed their business the most, were the people whose business were based out of their sphere of influence, but for the most part. Because you're calling people all day long that you already know. They're fun calls. You're catching up. When I started in 2010, I was lucky enough to share this office with this really, there was one big office that housed like 6 agents. And in my office, there was this really awesome agent, rock star, Rebecca Lininger, and her business was almost entirely from sphere of influence. She would spend 3 hours a day calling her sphere of influence while I was spending 3 hours a day calling expires and FSBOs. Let me tell you, she was having her calls was like, it was like a party. It was like a party line. Like she was calling, oh my God, tell me about your kids and laugh. She'd constantly be laughing and, and then people be telling about like intimate secrets about she was like having a blast. I, on the other side of the office, was getting hung up on and yelled at, quite frequently, right? You can still do business both ways, but I will tell you over time, I just watched her and I was like, oh my God, like that's what I want. Someday I want my business to be more like that and less like what I'm doing right now, right? Everybody clear on that? All right, cool. Let's see. Let me see. Anything else I'm supposed to tell you about? Feeding your data. Okay, blah, blah, blah. So we talked about the difference between prospecting and marketing. Anyone tell me that? What's the difference between prospecting and marketing? We talked about this yesterday, I think, or somebody talked about it.
maybe money or something to attract a potential client.
Yep.
Prospect will be, I guess, somebody that is already a building, kind of guy, you just want to convert it to.
Yeah, Alex had it exactly right. So marketing is kind of like fishing. I've got bait, I throw it in the water, and I just hope that some fish bites onto it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know, but that's what it is, right? I send my message out there and I hope someone comes back to me. Prospecting is far more direct. I meet somebody at an open house. We're having a one-way conversation. Like, it's far more immediate. It's cheaper. It's direct. It's immediate, right? And what should you do? Well, eventually you're going to be doing both, but especially when the market is turning right now, you want to be prospecting based, marketing enhanced. So you want to do a lot of prospecting and then sprinkle on some marketing on the top of it, like some sprinkles, right? All right. Building your database can be accomplished economically by asking everyone you know who could benefit from your services or may have an immediate real estate need, right? Simple enough. You learned earlier that many top agents run highly productive businesses based solely on their sphere. That was what we were just talking about, like my friend Rebecca Lininger. Having fun, low cost of conversion, warm leads. So when you show up, when she would go on a listing appointment, it was like a done deal. They'd spend half the time talking about their kids. Oh, and by the way, we're going to list your house. When I was going on a listing appointment, I was like fighting tooth and nail with like 3 other agents. And you can better believe that they were like fighting me over commission. Well, this person said they would do it for like -4%, you know, or whatever it was, right? I had to fight for every dollar, where she was like, you know, hers was like, oh my God, of course, Rebecca, we'll pay you full price. In fact, I love you. Why don't we just make it 7% or something? Because you're such an awesome agent, right? You got what I'm saying. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but. All right. So here's a question for you guys. Who might your sphere refer you to? What's that?
Yeah.
So they're close friends. So we have our sphere of influence. Everyone we contact, they're going to have their own sphere of influence, whether they keep it in a database or not. They're going to have their own group of people they know. And if they know somebody looking to buy or sell, if we've coached them and told them how to do that, they can refer those leads to us, right? So who might what kind of people might some of those people be? I'll give you an example. They're neighbors, right? They may know of a neighbor who might be thinking about selling. Their friends, their coworkers, their children, their relatives. Your sphere generally want to help you. Like, once we start following up with people and keeping in touch with them, overall, like, you start building a relationship with them and they want to help you. Like, okay, so when I first moved to Los Angeles from Charleston, you know, I had to start all over again. I didn't know anybody. And so I was cold calling through North Redondo. And a lot of people hung up on me. A lot of people, like, whatever, yelled at me, whatever. Don't ever call me again. God damn it. All that kind of stuff, right? But some of those people, like, respected me. And I had people being like, oh my God, Ed, you're calling me again. Right on, man. How are your calls going today? You know, like, you'd get your champions. Like, if you call enough people, there are going to be some people who respect what you do and they're going to be rooting for you. And those are the people you look for. And every day, so when I moved here from Charleston, I was calling at the time, I'd make like 100 to 200 dials a day using Mojo Dialer back in the day. Now be careful, because now it's different with they've gotten more serious about the do not call list. Please, so be careful. But back when I was doing it, I would make about 100 to 200 dials. I would get about 30 to 35 contacts. And every day I would add about 3 people to my database. And I would usually get one of them be usually I would get 1 lead a day of somebody who was thinking about selling in the next 6 months. Now, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but that means by the end of 30 days, I've got 30 people I've got 60 to 90 people in my database, and I've got roughly 30 people who are some sort of lead who are thinking about buying or selling in the next 6 months, right? So yeah, it can work. It was a brutal way of getting started in an area, But can you do it? Absolutely. Nowadays, I would run Facebook ads. I would dial 100 to 200. I would speak with about 35 people a day. Yeah, I would dial about 100 to 200 a day. When you do Mojo Dialer, by the way,
What's the point of that? That's like the automatic?
yeah, and by the way, be careful because nowadays they're way more tight with the DNC list. So it's much harder now than it used to be. But back then I could make all those dials. I would get my 35 contacts done in about 90 minutes, about an hour and a half it would take me. And it was just a brutal, awful hour and a half every day, but then you're done. And you know, within a few months, all of a sudden I had business going on and people were like, whoa, who's this kid who came out from the East Coast who all of a sudden has deals going on? You know, that's how you do it. That's one way of doing it.
How would you do it now?
Now I would, without a doubt, I would run Facebook ads. It's the easiest. I think it's the easy way. You have to spend a little bit of money, but if you spend $100 a month, you'll get about it's about $3 a lead here in the South Bay. Now, these aren't like warm leads. These are just people who clicked on a picture on Facebook of a house. So they're not going to be like, oh my God, Ed, I'm so glad you called. I'm can we go looking at houses this weekend? They're going to be like, wait, who are you again? And why are you calling me? Well, I'm calling you because you clicked on my ad on Facebook, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. The conversion rate is about 1%. But let's have some fun with some math here, shall we?
Conversion is actually ball, right?
Yeah. Let's have some fun with some math. So everybody with me? Let's have some fun with some math here. If it costs me $3 a lead, how many leads can I get for $300?
100.
Thank you. 100, right? And I will tell you that the conversion rate to convert online leads is about a 1% minimum. When you're new, it's going to be about 1%. Over time, you're going to get up to about 2%, 2.5%, and then it's going to stop there, right? So let's say I spend about $100 a month. Over the course of 3 months, I spend $300. How many leads is that again? Right? I spend $100 a month. Over the course of 3 months, I spend $300. How many leads would that be again? $3 a lead. If I spend $100 a month, over 3 months, I'm going to spend $300. For every $3 I spend, I'm going to get 1 lead. How many leads approximately will I have after 3 months, after I've spent $300? You guys just told me this a second ago. It's the same answer.
900.
No, it's what 100. 300. I spent $300 over the course of 3 months. I'm going to get 100 leads. If the conversion rate, I told you, even at starting is going to be about 1%. Now you're going to get better over time, but it's going to start at about 1%. If over 3 months, I spent $300, I got 100 leads. If I convert 1%, how many deals will I close out of that 100? 1%. Converting 1% of my 100 leads would mean I would close how many? 1, right? So to close 1, so now let's go into some fun ROI math. To close 1 lead, how much money, to close that 1 lead, how much money did I spend again? $300. $300 produced 100 leads, produced 1 closing. 1 lead costed me $300. How much is your average commission check in this office on average? Something like, can we agree it's something like 10,000? 10,000? Who in the hell wouldn't want to spend $300 and get $10,000 in return? That is an insane ROI all day long. I don't know why everyone in this office doesn't do this regularly. This is exactly what I would be doing. It's not hard to learn. Running those ads takes about 5 minutes. And I mean, I could show you literally in one afternoon, take about an hour to show you how to do it. And once you learn how to do it, you just repeat those ads. Every week you run the same ad and spend about $100 a month. You should get that kind of ROI. It's going to take about 6 months to get it up to speed. It takes a while to convert them, but you should have no problem hitting that ROI. And in fact, you may even be better than that. So there you go. That's one. If I didn't know anybody in town and I was getting started, that's one of the ways I would start. And yes, it costs a bit of money, but I feel like it's a really wise investment. All right, let's move on here. So any ahas so far? Somebody give me some ahas.
I have a question about your Facebook.
Yeah.
Leads, are those mostly or usually first-time home buyers? Because you're not gonna find us 50, 60-year-old dude on Facebook, right?
Sometimes, actually, you'd be surprised. Sometimes you will. Yeah, I mean, I would say no. A lot of the times I would get homeowners that had clicked on the ad because they were just curious about price of their home, or they clicked because they live in the neighborhood and they were just curious because they saw a home that was nearby them and they clicked on that. But I will say some of the leads that I converted, I would say probably a generally higher proportion of first-time home buyers. Yeah, that's accurate.
What's the content?
I will
Yeah,
here. I will show you the Facebook ads that I was running, the exact ads I was running. I would. So I would ask Simon how he feels about this, but this is what I was running. Hold on, let me share my screen. How do I get me back over here? Okay, hold on a second. Okay, hold on. Okay. Here's my command. Here are my ads. Now I was running ads for K-Score for a while, so disregard these ones up top here. This is an ad that I ran in Silver Lake. I spent $100. I got 39 leads. It was $2.56 a lead, 36 cents per click, but who cares about that? It's all about cost per lead. I don't care about cost per click. Here's my ad. So I ran these in Silver Lake when I was the PC out there. Search homes in Silver Lake now. Prices as low as $4.95. Some cool little emojis. Click learn more for a full list for homes for sale. Listings courtesy of Compass and Kim Real Estate. So none of these were even my lead. None of these were even Keller Williams. And I ran these leads. And when you clicked on this, it would take you to my command website searching for homes in Silver Lake. So when they'd click on this ad, it would take them right to the Silver Lake, showing them what was available right now for sale in Silver Lake. And yeah, I ran spent $100. I got 39 leads. I spent another $100 and got 30 more leads down here. Almost the exact same ad, same concept for sure. That was what, just one way of running an ad. If you have somebody who gives you permission, you could run an ad for their listing. You can pick up a lot that way. But
you built that ad. You found
yeah,
listings,
yep.
dropped them in.
I used the command system for building the ad, but it took me about a half hour the first time I put it together. But then from then on, anytime you want to run a new ad, you can run the same ad with the same pictures if you want, or you just go in and just pick some new pictures from some new listings, throw them in there, but in the same neighborhood, I don't know. Again, ask Simon how he feels about it. I always felt like no one can say like what, I'm not supposed to advertise I'm advertising several listings. I'm advertising everybody's listings on my website. You can't tell me I'm not allowed. Through broker reciprocity, we have permission to advertise other people's listings. That's a fact. As long as we give them credit, which you saw in the ad, it says listings courtesy of such and such, such and such.
So of your 30 leads, a name and a phone number is attached for you?
Yeah, in fact,
It's their Facebook, the number they entered, where their Facebook profile, that's the number that.
yeah. So to give you, and by the way, is there going to be some bogus information here? Yeah. Part of that's built into that 1% conversion. Some of it's going to be because the information they give you is completely jacked. Some of it is you follow up with them and there's nothing, they don't want to talk to you or whatever. So it can, but overall for every 100 leads, you should convert 1%.
And I'm assuming those phone numbers provided do not cross-check and DNC list.
No, but they've clicked on your ad. So presumably that you've got permission to follow up with them. In my humble non-broker opinion, you know, you may, like I said, you may want to ask Simon, but they've clicked on your ad. Are you going to get anybody complaining when you say, oh, you've clicked on my ad? I presume that meant I do not think you'll run into trouble that way. And I would start the conversation with, hey, this is Ed Marill with Keller Williams. Hey, you clicked on my ad today and I was just giving you a call to follow up and give you some more information about that neighborhood since you clicked on the ad. Are you looking to buy or sell, or maybe you live in the neighborhood, and then just go from there. And honestly, I will be honest with you. I think you can do better than 1%. Most of us in this room could. You just get better over time of like what to say and how to convert them. But it's better than cold calling people, and it's better than door knocking because you can cover a lot of people that way because they've given you, you have some, even if it's just they clicked on one picture, you have some connection to them. So you have some reason for calling them, and you can say like, hey, you clicked on my picture, blah, 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 blah. And now you've started the conversation. A lot of times you're like, whoa, I wasn't expecting you to call me. I know I'm not here to pressure you. I just want to make sure I follow up with everybody in case you have any questions about that neighborhood, blah, blah, blah. And you'll find ways to kind of conversations start them. The next thing you know, you're talking about, oh, I've lived in the neighborhood for 20 years and well, it's changed so much. Oh, really? Tell me more about that. Now we're up and running, right? Everybody following that? Okay. This is the little bonus contact you get when you take a class with Ed. All right. Where am I? Where the hell am I at? I'm so far off the book. We're nowhere in the book here. Did we do this already? Oh wait, this is new. All right, here's something new. All right, let's get back on track here. Oh, share screen. There we go. Yes. Okay, someone on the Zoom call, bail me out here and let's get us back on track by reading what is up. Hey, what's going on, Fernanda? Someone read what's on the screen here. Okay, hold on, let me get a volunteer. Somebody raise your hand or I will pick.
I'll read it.
Yes, please, go ahead.
To succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contact with the database with the intent of building close relationships.
I love that. All right, I wanted to say something, but you know what? I'm going to stick to the book so I can make sure we cover our content. And I'll tell you something about this. Give me one or two people commenting on this quote. Who wants to comment? We'll do one person online, somebody in the room. We'll go online first. I always start with the people in person, but this one I'm doing online first. Someone raise your virtual hand and let's call on you. How about Suzette or Crystal? I haven't heard from you guys today.
You want me to, what do you want us to do?
Just comment on this quote on the screen.
Well, I have a database and I've been contacting my database every day. And yesterday, someone called back and they are looking for a home with a certain square footage in the backyard. And if I find something, to please let them know.
Woohoo! So you're doing the work and you're getting some results. It does not get any better than that. I love it.
It took me 30 days to get that result, but I still got the results. That's
even better. So there was 29 days where you made your calls and didn't get a result.
Correct.
On the 30th day, she made calls and she got a result. That is the beginnings of developing a habit. I love it. That's an awesome testimonial to all of this right here. Anybody else? Someone from the room. What does this mean to you?
It takes a minimum of 7 touches that I would potentially find engage with you.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's gonna, most agents give up after they call somebody once or twice and never call them again. And you don't know what the hell is gonna happen. Like, just keep calling them. Unless someone says like, Ed, please, for the love of God, please don't ever call me again. I'm gonna keep calling you, just what I do, right? What do you say, Joe?
That's a good approach to have.
Right on, right?
Also, this quote aligns with what our job is.
Yeah.
Because that's what our job is, not necessarily sell houses, but also it's focusing on relationships, because that's why people
Yeah,
build relationships and building those relationships, and that's by having more communication, having, having base with them more frequently, that's how we build a relationship. So, that's a lot, that aligns with what we're supposed to be.
I love it. Perfectly said. Here's what they say. This quote says, you must commit to frequent contact. How long must you commit to building relationships in your real estate career? Forever. Yeah, forever while you are in business. We're going to discuss the model and systems for doing this in the next segment called lead follow-up. Here's my comment on that quote. Some of us are more like super extroverted. You put us in a party and like we talk to everybody. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like my wife is like this. Some of us are more introverted. I know I come across as being like, and I'm not actually. Like if I go to a cocktail party with my wife, I will end up in the corner talking to the same person from the last cocktail party, and we're going to talk about the same baseball teams and whatever that we probably talked about last time. She finds that very boring, which is why she like needs to go find other people to talk to herself, right? But that's me. That's how I'm wired. That like I'm not that person who goes out there and meets lots of people. However, in real estate, I've learned that if I want to make any money, I've got to get over that. And I've got to get comfortable calling my database. If you can't get past that, you're going to have a real tough time making money in real estate. But the good news is that, like I said, from experience for all of you guys there, I'm somebody like that. And if you're not the person who's the social butterfly, this can be learned. And this can be a learned skill. And honestly, it's not that I've made my personality fit into real estate. Real estate has actually given me the opportunity to kind of expand my horizons and be more socially than I would normally be. And that's helped me grow as a person immensely. So that can come from this too. It can go the other way around. Okay. The third law is the way you communicate with your database will depend on whether it's with leads or contacts. Remember that in Ignite, we're focusing our attention on relationship building and strengthening with our contacts, our sphere, those whom we have permission to have two-way conversations with. As you establish and build relationships and learn more about a person's motivations, dreams, interests, and goals, you will categorize or segment people into common interests so that everyone is receiving communication that matters to them. Information that is meaningful and feels personal is information that they're more likely to respond to. What does that mean to you guys? Like you want to personalize the information you're sending people as much as possible. For example, how is a way we might segment our people in our database that we can use to our advantage to making communication to them more meaningful?
John played basketball, and you can just write that down and maybe while you talk to him, oh man, he has a basketball tournament, it's a search. When next time you call him back, you go, oh, the basketball tournament, how did we go? Like, oh,
Yeah.
how did you, put up 30 points or whatnot, we didn't play again.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the high school draw. Then you just, that's something they're interested in. That's what they're focused on. That's what their mind's in.
Yeah.
You connect with them with that, and that's open up for love and communication.
I love it. What Alex is saying is, we touched a little bit on this earlier. When you talk to people, you may find out information like, for example, Alex was saying about their kids, they may play basketball. So now when you follow up with them, you can use that. I think what we're talking about here is a little more about, which is totally true, by the way, and I love that you got that aha from earlier. What we're talking about here is, for example, say I specialize in a neighborhood, the TRW track in North Redondo, right? That's a neighborhood I farm or whatever, and I want to specialize in that. So I might create a tag. So in addition to whatever tag people have, I might create a special one called TRW track. And once a month, maybe I send out a newsletter about everything going on in the TRW track. I'm not going to send that to everybody. I'm going to send that to the people with that tag, right? What are some segments or categories you might already naturally have in your database? Think more about from a real estate perspective too. How are some ways we segment people in our database right now? An easy one is homeowners versus renters. How about those with children versus those without? Buyers, sellers, those might be a specific tag you add to people in your database if they're thinking about buying or selling. Right? All right, we're going to skip that part there. So look at the list you just created, right? Since people are more likely to respond with the information, when the information you send them and communicate directly impacts them, it's important to purposely segment your database so the target message appeals to them. By the way, military is a great one. We don't have a ton of that here, but we do have quite a bit, like with Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. It's important to keep in mind that this is not set in stone. It is flexible and will change as your database and your relationships grow and develop. People may belong in multiple segments of your database, right? When I was on the East Coast, some of my people who are in my golf group happen to be the same people in my farm neighborhood group, right? It can mix and match, right? There's no, some other segments could include clients, past clients, VIPs, referral clients, specific hobbies or interests like military veteran, investors, property type, etc. Or for example, golf, like I mentioned earlier. What are some ways that you might further segment the list that you just generated? Anyone?
Schools.
Ooh, I love that. School districts, right? A particular school or school district. That's a great one. I love that. I didn't think about that one. That was a good one. All right, cool. Let's move on. Hold on a second. Where am I going? The messaging to the segment should be relevant to likes, dislikes, interests, or based on past interactions with you. Even though the words and topics of your messaging will change, there are some things that will remain consistent no matter what segment you're communicating with. Your messaging matches the motivation of that segment. It uncovers if they're able, ready, and willing, and the time frame there. So whenever you're sending people messaging, like you want to be able to dig out and see if there's any people looking to buy or sell from that, right? It elicits an immediate response. Anyone heard of MOFIR? MOFIR? Make offer for immediate response. MOFIR. It's a principle of advertising. MOFIR. MOFIR. Make offer for immediate response, which would mean like call today to get a discount. Those kind of things, right? Act now and get this free set of Ginsu knives that you'll cut yourself with. Call to action is another way of saying it too. Yes. It helps the clients, so the communication helps the clients know why they would choose to contact you in the current market and what they get if they do. What are they going to get if they talk to you?
Information.
Yep, that's exactly right. Okay. This is a couple, we're going to cover this briefly. There's a couple ways of thinking about how we communicate with our people. In particular, the 36 to convert. This is an example of a touch plan that you could use with your current people to get them to keep them in your loop so that whenever they're looking to buy or sell or know somebody who is, they will think of you. And so what we do is when we first meet people, there's this concept that we want to first contact them, touch them 19 times to formulate a relationship with them. Like, so example, Facebook person clicks on a link. Well, I might follow up with them and say, hey, how you doing? Follow up with an email, send them some listings, text them something, whatever. And then at the end of 19, in between here, studies have shown that if you can provide them with one high value touch, kind of like solidifies the relationship you've just established and opens the door for future interactions. An example might be, say you're meeting with people like, remember online leads, at the end of our 19 touch, they're like, hey, this is really cool. You know, we're not quite ready yet, but at some point I'd really like to purchase with you. Maybe I send them like a guide on like the home purchasing, how it works, right? The home purchase plan or something like something tangible that's, you know, it might be just something like a book or something, you know, anything like that, right? Here's some items of value that they suggest. Markets, like a packet with market stats, a seasonal prep checklist for homeowners, right? So if you're contacting them and they just happen to be homeowners and nothing more than that, then maybe send them a packet like here's a checklist of things to, you know, to remind you of what to prepare for on a quarterly basis. Some other items of value could be real estate forecasting data or a schedule of local events and festivals. It doesn't have to be real estate related. Anyone want to come up with any ideas other than these? Anybody online? All right. Okay, do you guys see now how a database becomes a data bank when you continually communicate with them and communicate matters of importance to the recipients? Let me ask you this, what naturally happens as you build relationship and continually show value? If you were to do that 36, where's it at? Oops. This 36 touch plan, if you were to do that, what would happen over time?
You're gonna build your database.
Say online, you said something like, I couldn't quite hear it. Say it again.
I'm going to build my database and increase my sales.
Your sales will increase?
Yes, and my database will increase.
Yeah, absolutely. Your database will grow in size. It will grow in the, more importantly, it will grow in the depth of those relationships. Those relationships will come deeper. So I will tell you, back in the day in 2010, I was taught this whole system and I implemented a really good 36 touch plan. Back then we used to call it 33 touch. I guess that's inflation for you. So I had a really great 36 touch plan. I would have a monthly newsletter, a monthly email, and a monthly postcard. And I did that to a sphere of about 1,000 people. If there was one thing that I could tell a new agent, I would say, if you could only learn how crazy well a good 36 touch plan works, it is insane how good it works. And it works in the weirdest way. Like you don't even see it coming. Like you're sending everybody your newsletter, you're sending everybody your freaking postcards and your emails, and it's going to feel like nothing is happening, which is why a lot of people quit. It takes like 6 months for you really to start to notice the stuff coming in. By 1 year mark, you're going to be like, wow. And by 18 months, they say that for every 10 people in your database, you should get one piece of business per year if you do the 36 touch plan correctly. I will tell you that at about 18 months is when all that started to come true. And it's nuts, man. Like you just start having tons of business. And sometimes they come from people that you're really close friends with and they give you a referral. And sometimes it's like some weird corner of your database that you're like, I don't even know who this person was. I don't even know how this person got into my database. And all of a sudden they're calling you saying like, oh my God, hey, I got your newsletter. How, you know, I need to talk to you because we're thinking about selling. It's crazy. It's like, it's so wild. So there you go. Yes.
So if you touch plan, obviously, so you be trying to send email, flyers, calls, those are included in the touch plan. Well, because like, you kind of think like all the ways you could be able to like, you know, so do the 36, do the get on to 36 touch. Well, I did to do too much repeat.
Yeah. So we're talking about the 36 touch plan and what here's some rules of thumb. Here's some rules of thumb for a 36 touch plan. 4 of them minimum should be either in person or by phone, voice to voice or belly button to belly button. Not all of them can be emails. If you email 36 people 36 times, is that going to produce much business? Because we're not building that relationship. Relationship is finding out things about, remember we're talking about how you call people and you find out about their kids and all sorts of crazy stuff. That does not come from a text. That does not come from a social media post that's boosted and they get the social media post. It's not interactive. It doesn't really build your database, right? But if, so 4 of them have to be in person. That's a rule of minimum. And I would say no more than 12 of them can be email, because email, you do too many, you end up on the spam list. And once you end up on the spam list, is it easy to ever recover from that? Have you ever gotten emails from some clothing store, some sales place, and next thing you know, they're emailing you every 5 minutes?
Yes.
What happens? You unsubscribe. Let me ask you this. How many of you, like 6 months later, was like, God, I missed those emails from Nordstrom or whatever. And you went back and you searched for them and you resubscribed. I mean, I'm sure it's happened, but does that happen often? Not at all, right? So that's why I'm saying, like, no more than 12 of those contacts, have them be emails, right? Try to make them of value whenever possible. Not all 36 touches have to be of value to the client, but you should try to build in some things of value. Like a really easy one is through command, you can send everybody a neighborhood nurture plan where they get to know the 3 closest property, they get to know the properties nearby them that have sold, what they sold for, all the details. Everybody loves that. Doesn't matter. It never gets old. Right? All that kind of stuff.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a quick question, Ed. What would you suggest would be a good high value touch? Because I see it says 1 to cement, 1 high value touch.
Yeah, the high value, we just talked about that a second ago. Here, let me go back. The high
That's
value
probably when I
touch,
got up, sorry.
no problem. A high value touch to cement the relationship could include, where am I here? I'm all lost. Hold on. Bear with me here.
No problem.
Here's some suggestions from them, like a packet of market stats, a packet that includes a seasonal prep checklist for homeowners. Like, hey, don't forget in the springtime, you should check your air filter, and, in the wintertime, make sure you frost proof your sprinkler system for those people who are up north. Real estate forecasting data and a schedule of local events and festivals are all examples of those high touch items.
Got it. Thank you.
You got it. Hold on a second here. I'm all over the place. Where am I? Where's that 4th one? The 4th one, remember we're talking about the 4 laws of database building. Your job is to build a community and to serve the community. A good quote from Gary Keller. The 4th law of lead generation is to service every lead that comes your way. Plan for a lead follow-up program to leverage every opportunity. There's a saying in real estate, the money is in the follow-up. The money is in the follow-up. That's where the money is in the follow-up. The money's in the follow-up. Have I said enough times? Because I want to drill that into your brain. We work so hard to produce leads. How crazy is it that you work really hard to produce leads and then a lead comes up and somebody doesn't follow up with it? I mean, every lead that comes in is like gold. Somebody has said, like, oh my God, you've just spent the last 12 months following up with me in my neighborhood and telling me everything going on. Hey, I'm finally ready for something. Give me a call so we can talk about a listing appointment. And yet it's crazy because I used to coach a lot of agents. It's crazy how many people let those leads go to waste. I mean, after you've worked so hard to get them. So the 4th law of lead generation is service every lead that comes your way in a systematic way. So that means making sure that if someone calls you up and says, hey, thanks for your market, your market packet. I'm thinking about selling in the next month. Let's get together. Now, of course, you're going to call them immediately, but let's say they don't answer. Well, you should have a plan on how are you going to follow up with those people. In Command, there's a lot of smart plans that have built-in follow-up plans, like you can look there for some basics. But that's what we're talking about, is making sure you follow up with every single person, right? All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here, but before we do, what ahas do we have from this last section? What ahas do you guys have from the day of from all this stuff about building your database and feeding it? Give me some ahas, everybody. 36 touch plan. Absolutely. That's probably, I'm glad you said that, Alex. That's probably the number one thing I would take away if I were you guys. If I were you guys, if you haven't already, honestly, the two number one things I would do when you get into real estate: import your database into Command or whatever else, so you now have your database in one spot. Start calling your database. And number two, the number two thing I would do is figure out what is your 36 touch plan. What does that look like? And start implementing that with everybody in your database. That's those two things. You start doing that immediately, and you will have business within a few months. I promise. Because you cannot fail if you do those things. At even a medium level of understanding. Okay, so 36 touch. That's one aha. What else we got? Give me some ahas. Alex is saying the Facebook ad concept, as a way of lead generating was a good one.
Build your database on Command.
Build your database on Command. I love that.
The importance of reaching out, even with the like a letter writing.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, I actually received a thank you card for I had to go to a new place to get my eyebrows done. And as a new customer to this person, she sent me a thank you card, which was really touching and made me want to go back to her because it shows she cared.
I love that. What a great, I mean, how did you feel when you got that card? Good, right? I mean, is it good?
Yeah,
Right?
it was touching. I was like, oh, that was so sweet.
Right?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want our clients to feel like that? Like, you know, who wouldn't want your client to feel like that, right? Suzette had one that she put in the chat bar. She said, putting in those Ford custom fields into your Command database. I love that.
Yes.
Any other ahas? Mm-hmm. That's a great one. So Alex was saying, making sure that you can cater your communication and your messaging tailoring that to your clients by segmenting your database. When you have segments in your database, it allows you to send information specific to that segment, and it feels to them, it's going to feel more personal, right? Because they're like, wow, this guy's sending me something specific to golf or specific to a neighborhood or specific to home purchasing, right? Yeah, I love that. Anything else? All right, guys, this was a lot of fun. For those of you guys, I mean, you guys all know my desk is right behind Holland's, behind the wall there. But just in case, here is my cell phone. And here is my email address. And I'm here for you just like the rest of the staff. Whatever I can do to help you guys out. My job is help you guys grow. I'm the director of growth. So there you go. Any last questions, ahas? Hopefully I'll see some of you guys at the team meeting tomorrow at noon. And what else? I hope you guys make it through the rest of Command. It's great seeing a turnout. We got like what, 12 people in Command and in Ignite. I should say Ignite, not Command. We've got about 12 people in Ignite. That's a good crew. If you guys can make it in person, always better in person. But if you can't make it, it's great that you've got Zoom as an option as well, because better to be on Zoom than not at all. So any last questions or concerns, comments? Should we wrap it up there?
Sure.
Well, all right, you guys. So glad. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you so much, Ed. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
All right, guys, you're most welcome. Thank you.